A manhunt is underway for 3 more migrant men for the rape and assault of an 18-year-old girl, while her fiance was forced to watch. Police say the DNA and genetic profiles of the suspects they have in custody do not match those found on the victim, meaning the attackers are believed to be at large. The couple had parked in a quiet corner of Torre Teste, a park in eastern Rome, for privacy, before 4 or 5 migrant men surrounded their car. The 24-year-old boyfriend said the migrants had smashed into his car, threatening him with death while restraining him, before forcing the woman out as she tried to cover herself with an item of clothing. He said he screamed and threatened revenge as they dragged the woman away and began their attack. All perpetrators then fled the scene. Police later arrested 3 Moroccan men on charges of gang rape and robbery, though have since announced the DNA and genetic profiles of the suspects do not match that found on the victim. Corriere della Sella reports 2 other Moroccan accomplices remain at large as a manhunt gets underway. Police believe a 3rd Tunisian man may match the attacker's DNA. Residents protested violence against women at the scene of the attack on Tuesday. Recent gang rape cases involving immigrants have led to public protests against illegal mass migration and violence against women. Back in August, a 26-year-old Gambian refugee confessed to robbing and raping a 60-year-old woman in the same park on a Sunday morning while she walked her dog. He had arrived in Italy in 2016 but only obtained a residence permit last year. After being caught by police at Rome's main train station, the migrant admitted the crime, saying he was high on narcotics at the time of the attack. Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini demanded Italy begin chemically castrating those convicted of sex crimes, writing on X, "On the day for the elimination of violence against women, such terrible news arrives. The League, his party, has long proposed chemical castration to stop rapists and paedophiles. Our proposal is already in Parliament. Let everyone lend a hand. Let's put an end to the violence." Marking the day, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said she had enacted significant laws to toughen penalties for violence against women. She has previously linked migrants to a rise in sexual violence in Italy. Since taking office, she has opened migrant detention centres in Albania, in a quest to deter migrants from setting off from Libya. When Keir Starmer approached Albania's Prime Minister to do the same for Britain, he was rebuffed. Nick Dunning, GB News.
Your personal data could be exposed right now without you even knowing it. And if you want it removed, use incogni.com/GB News in the description now and get 60% off an annual plan on us. Incogni reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information be deleted from their databases. And they'll keep sending removal requests to make sure your data stays gone. Sometimes your information ends up on strange, obscure websites that automated tools just can't reach. And that's why Incogni just launched their unlimited plan with a feature called Custom Removals. With this, you can submit any link where your personal information appears, literally paste in the URL, and their privacy team will investigate and work to get it removed. And getting started is super easy. Hit the link in the description, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. Grant them permission to work on your behalf, and then all you've got to do is sit back and relax. They'll keep you updated along the way. Incogni is totally risk-free for 30 days. If you try it, it's not for you, you'll get a full refund. So take back control of your personal data today with Incogni. Use our code GBNews at checkout via the link in the description, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan.
In the UK, we have a far too lenient asylum system that is able to simply accommodate and almost appreciate every individual's asylum claim that comes across the channel, when we know most of them are bogus. This is why the bill for asylum has exploded 7-fold since 2019. This is why we've got a record number of asylum applications in the last year. Look, you're absolutely right that the only way we can solve this mess is to act unilaterally. I think the best example of this was what Donald Trump did when it came to Central African countries. He recognised that there was a huge problem with individuals from Ghana, for instance, that were staying in the UK illegally. He used every diplomatic lever he had at his disposal. He used the sheer strength of the US economy. He imposed imposed visa sanctions on these countries, and within a matter of months they buckled and agreed to take back their foreign nationals, their nationals. So this is what we need to be looking towards. We don't need to get stuck into endless conversations with Europe, which frankly actually probably lead us to a dangerous place where we end up having to get involved in EU asylum pacts and more returns agreements like we saw in the Dublin. And Dublin was a categorical failure by the end for this country.
Yeah, and Oliver Ryan there, nobly defending, which was undeniably, improvably. The data shows us it was a flawed policy. Dublin was a terrible deal for Britain. We ended up being net recipients. We took many, many more in than we ever sent back.
And
it's one of the biggest remaining myths to say that Dublin was some kind of silver bullet.
And the fact they're still sticking by it, you have to almost salute them for it, because it is such a fallacy, it is such a lie, especially after the immigration crisis that we saw in 2015, where we were actually ending up being the sufferers of Europe's crazy immigration policy, where Angela Merkel, of course, threw open the borders to millions of people. So this is unfortunately a situation where if we get stuck with Europe, we will be taken down a dark path where we have little or less control than we currently do have, and we end up taking more people from those frontier countries on the Med or in Eastern Europe, and end up actually imposing a greater cost on ourselves more insidiously through welfare bills and so on.
Can I talk to you about the types of nations at the table today? Are they really our friends? Kosovo, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, Albania, Bosnia. 22,000 illegals come from those precise countries. And we have almost 1,200 Albanians in British prisons. We know from your own research, Rob Bates, they're 500 times more likely to be drug dealers from Albania than in Britain. Why don't we start, rather than doing deals, sending this lot back?
Well, exactly, and we've seen from previous spats that have happened online, for instance, between the Prime Minister of Albania and Nigel Farage, that this is not something that the Albanian government actually takes seriously. They almost laugh about the fact that we have a huge illegal migrant population from Albania in the UK, and a lot of them, and it brings me no pleasure to say this, a lot of them are involved in crime. The number of convictions that we've seen of Albanians between 2021 and 2024 almost equated to one conviction per every 10 people in the country. So this is a ridiculous situation that we should somehow be thinking that Albania is going to cooperate in any way in good faith. They are clearly a country that is actually exploiting in many instances the UK's weak asylum system. Yes, we were able to bring to an end some of the Albanians coming across on small boats through, again, it was diplomatic pressure and it was hard-nosed negotiation from the last Conservative government that actually managed to end the sheer number of Albanians that were coming across. But I really see no virtue from tying our fate and our fortune to the benevolence and good wishes of other countries, because they're facing issues as well. Are they really not going to sort of dump on us if the opportunity presents itself?
Rob Bates, Denmark had their own immigration policy and they've contravened what they'd like in Brussels. This week, both Poland and Hungary have told Brussels to stuff their croissants where the sun don't shine. They've said, we're not taking any more of the quotas from you. They're going it alone. Donald Trump has gone it alone. I put it to you, these are the nations that are in London today. They don't want to reduce their own numbers. They've got their own immigration crises. Why do they care about the numbers in Britain?
And this is it. What we are effectively signing up to here, if any deals do come from this, is a commitment to support European nations in their own problems. And you do look at those countries in Eastern Europe. You look at especially Hungary, who have really been prepared to sort of play hard-nosed with the European powers that be, and to say, no, screw any agreement that you think we've got with you. We're going to do everything it takes to put our national interest first. This is what we need to focus on, the national interest. We don't need to get stuck in these abstract ideas of international cooperation and smashing these transnational gangs. British interest has to come first, and to do that, we have to end our own pull factors, and we have to frankly say that the asylum system needs to be slowly rowed down and dialed down way beyond where it currently is, because it is getting out of control.